What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy, and I know I'm a small channel, and really not the person you probably are looking to for advice on growing your YouTube channel or anything like that. But first off, to those of you hopping over from Twitch, welcome. Honestly, the main thrust of what I'm gonna say here isn't even exactly my words. I mean, I had a similar thought, but what really brought it to light and in the proper perspective was a tweet from one of my fellow Christian content creators out there who goes by Shadeless. And he says that, let me just bring up the actual, tweet here that I'm making reference to. It was technically a thread, but the first part I found the most relevant, and this I also had thoughts similar to this anyway. So he says, "The longer I continue in this content creation journey, the more I understand that it's like high school. Ignore the hype and create your own hype. Don't follow all the advice on how to succeed. Some of it helps, but most of it is copy and paste content." I mean, I don't think that last part was meant to sum up high school or anything like that. The whole ignore the hype and create your own, I guess, could be similar to high school. I had never really even thought of high school that way, but then again, I was not exactly very popular in high school. So, Anyway, also, on the advice front, generally speaking, just trust the people that you know or are familiar with, not some rando person who happens to maybe have a significant following. Just because they have a significant following doesn't mean that you should necessarily follow their advice. Because there are a lot of people who have gotten big on platforms like this just because they follow a particular formula of doing things. And while that may get views or, clicks or whatever, it's not necessarily the best thing for everybody to do in the long run. I actually originally wanted to make a video like this as somewhat of a rant on, how come nobody can seem to actually come up with a solid answer that isn't just copy-paste some particular, strategy from, whoever's popular. And I realized it's because you do the copy-paste thing. Sure, that can work for getting your metrics up, but it's going to drain all the personality out of it. And if you want to be sustainable over the long term, you can't just drain the life out of it. You have to keep it something that you like and enjoy and are interested in, and you have to make it, somewhat your own. So, thoughts I had coming from some of the big YouTube names, or at least the old school big YouTube names. I don't know for sure about the newer ones, but PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. Yeah, they might have had a period where they were just okay, grind it out, grind it out, grind it out. Yeah, I don't necessarily even like everything that I'm doing, but I'm going to grind it out to get the numbers. And then, once they kind of got big, they realized that, I've reached a level that I'm comfortable with monetarily. I don't need to do the grind anymore. And wouldn't you know it, when left to their own preferences and devices, they don't do the grind. They just do, whatever they feel like doing. So really, long term, that's gonna be the thing that keeps you going. Now, maybe short periods of grind, if you can handle those for a little bit, then sure. I just did a thing in September. I called it Shortstember because I decided I was going to do at least one YouTube short every single day in the month of September. And I hated myself some days for that decision, but gosh darn it, I pulled it off. And I went with it, and wouldn't you know it, my subscriber count during that time went from 74 to 93. I have had this YouTube channel active for like 5 or 6 years before this. And suddenly, 1 month of doing YouTube Shorts basically has the biggest increase in subscriber count that I have ever had on the channel, other than maybe its initial creation. So, some grindy things work. Some little bits of, following the formula, if you're okay with doing that, might not be a terrible idea. But, long term, do not keep pounding yourself to oblivion doing the grind. Because you're going to hate it, and you're going to want to quit. All that to say, do your own thing. Like, make sure that you are being genuine. Because that's certainly what YouTube started off with. The people who got the big followings, yeah, they might have caught on to certain popular trends at certain times. But people stayed for the personalities. So, that's the big tip. Now, a couple of other things I will say, and this is not necessarily, monkey see, monkey do. This is me just giving little tidbits that other people have said that, yeah, they have some relevance. And maybe a couple of things that I disagree with. But one thing. Short videos. They are definitely going to get your view counts up. Period. And if my situation back in September was anything to go off of, they're also pretty good for increasing your subscriber count. So, yeah. Do those as you feel like you're able. I am terrible at that. Outside of September, I have really not done very many of those. I'm working on something to maybe increase that output a little bit, but it's in progress. Also, one thing that's kind of like there's truth to it, but also don't take it too far, is quality over quantity. So a lot of people will talk about, it's better if you do quality videos less often than if you just go for quantity and are pumping out videos that are just super duper easy to replicate, and they're not going to be very original or unique or stand out or anything like that. There's some truth to that, but there's a bit of a cutoff point. That cutoff point is kind of different depending on you and your content, but don't stress out over having, editing effects every 2 seconds just because you want a better video that's going to keep people's attention more or anything like that. While that might help with that individual video's metrics, at some point, the YouTube algorithm is still not going to pick up on your content as much if you're not putting it out there as much. For me, I have definitely seen more view counts, even disregarding shorts. Before I did Shorts Timber, I was seeing more view counts on my videos just from increasing my output. I didn't do a whole lot of fancy editing. I didn't do, anything to really make them stand out all that much, other than maybe a little bit more work on my thumbnails, which also, that's a big piece of advice. Make sure your thumbnails are interesting. Keep them true to the video, but make sure that they're at least, somewhat eye-catching. I'm terrible at this sometimes as well. Especially the ones that are not like gaming videos or anything like that, where I can take a, particular capture moment of the game and use that as my thumbnail. But, eye-catching thumbnails are good, they help, but don't stress out over them. And the title. Yeah, you want it to be interesting and keep it kind of true to the video, because you don't need a super duper clickbaity title. That's, ultimately, if you do that a lot, people are going to realize that, oh, this person's just making clickbait titles. I'm not going to watch their videos because I know I can't take them seriously. Like, their video doesn't wind up nearly as interesting as their title is. So, again, spend a little bit of time thinking about your title, but don't stress out over it. So these things like, regarding quality of your videos, yeah, sure, they help to some extent, but don't let those keep you from doing more of what you want to do. Like, personally, I would rather, be doing like I'm doing, having more videos per week that can, keep people coming back more often and then potentially get views on other videos of mine or anything like that. I'd rather do that and not like spend an hour each working on just the thumbnail and the title for every single video. Some people spend so much time focused on their thumbnails and video titles that it really is like half the time that they spend on preparing it. That's not, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a bit extreme. But still, think about it for a little bit at least. Put in at least a little bit of effort into finding an interesting thumbnail and video title. But don't stress out over it. The more stress that you add to the mix, the worse off you're going to be over the long term, because you're going to be stressed out and it's going to make you want to quit sometimes. I may not have a big following, but I've done this for 6 or so years. And the reason I haven't decided to give up on it, despite the small following, is because I don't stress out about it too much. And I kind of enjoy what I'm doing. So, anyway, I think that pretty much covers all my bases with thoughts that I had. Sorry if that went a little bit longer than expected. I honestly didn't even think I was going to say all that when I started the video, but there you have it. So, TLDW, don't bother following everybody's advice. Not all of it's helpful. There are some things that you can do to help get more traffic on your videos and on your channel in general, but don't stress out about it. Like, be you. Because otherwise, your channel is not going to have any personality, and either you're going to hate it and leave, or people watching your stuff are going to leave because it has no personality. Like, people stay with YouTube channels for the personalities, for the people, not just for, a certain type of video or whatever. So anyway, that's going to do it for now. Also, one last little thing as I wrap this up. I usually wait until the end of the video to, say like, share, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. It's not necessarily recommended that you wait until the end for all that. In fact, most people would say do it at the beginning. I personally can't stand that. I hate people asking me to do that at the beginning. It makes me 0% more inclined to do any of those because I'm like, I haven't even watched the video. How am I supposed to know if I like the video if I haven't watched it yet? Do that in a way and at a time that feels natural within your videos. Whatever you feel like doing. Don't feel forced into a particular cookie cutter way of doing it just because that's what's recommended or whatever. So anyway, yeah. So for real this time, like the video if you enjoyed it. Share with others if you want them to see. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos and click the bell to get updates when I post new ones. Look down in the description as well for info on my other social media pages, how to find and follow those. And yes, I realize this is showing here. I just got a little blood work done today for, lab tests for new life insurance policy that I got. Nothing big. Don't worry. Anyway, down below the description that has the social media info, leave comments with any thoughts that you have. Whether it's directly related to this video or not. Other video ideas you might have. Whatever. Let me know down below. So that's it. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you for the next video. But until then, stay cool, people.